I want to talk about that and remember too that trauma happens on a continuum.
Mm,
And so I read this week, somebody in an article said there's no such thing as a small trauma. And I so agree with that. Trauma, as we've heard from Dr. Porges and Dr. Gabor Mate say, trauma is not what happens to you, it's what happens inside of you.
mm, mm,
And so, the children and the adolescents that are going through these seclusions and restraints, and I say this everywhere I travel. If you look at your discipline data in your schools, and if you are a teacher, or even in my own home, I mean, I looked at the things that we were using as disciplinary measures, and they weren't working because the behavior, was not getting better. But if you look at your discipline data, the children and the adolescents that were struggling in August were struggling in October, they were struggling in January, and they were struggling in May. And they left you at the end of last school year, and they still the behaviors were present. So school, even though it is a place, it is, hopefully a place of external and relational and meaning environmental support. We are a child's relational field. As a teacher, I am that child's, I'm there for them. And it doesn't mean that I am excusing behaviors or that I am agreeing. But what we now understand is that school can be a very traumatizing place for
mm.
our children, where adults are not understanding that behavior management is about the adult.
Right.
It is not about the child. And so when we deeply embody, and this is the key word here, when I embody that my tone of voice can set a child off, that my physiological presence can throw a child into an implicit memory. And this is what I want to talk about, Guy. That my gesturing and my posture can activate a child's stress response system, even though I didn't mean to do that. I mean, none of us wake up in the morning thinking that, we're going to send a kid out in the hall or we're going to suspend them. I don't want to, this is so hard. You've got 30 kids in a classroom or 40 kids in a classroom,